My birthday.
How old are you?
5.
Are you happy today?
I've been doing this thing since my early 20s probably, where as soon as I get stressed or sad or even just a little depressed, I will start thinking about the past. And it will happen. I don't get to decide. It just happens. And for a lot of my life, I would just fight this feeling and say, no, I'm not going to listen to it. I'm not going to play around with it. And the reason I wouldn't is because it felt like the adult thing to do, especially in my 20s. Whenever I would feel like, oh, the decisions I'm making aren't right, or I'm not sure if I need to be making certain decisions, or if I'm doing the right jobs or going in the right direction, it would bubble up a lot. And I don't have any choice in it, which is the weird part. It just happens. And being in this part of my life in those mid-20s, early 20s, I would always fight it because that was the adult thing to do and the right thing to do. It was always around the same years. It was about 1990 to 1998. And the more I think about it now, clearly there was a time in my life when I didn't have to make any big decisions. Life was not, feeling like I had to make a left or a right turn and one of those was right and one of those was wrong. So clearly, I wanted the responsible parts of my life, which made it feel even more like I was trying to escape reality, which is why I fought it. So on a particularly stressful day, I had just been laid off, and my daughter was 3 months from being born, and she was my first child. So I got a few stresses going on. This nostalgia popped up again, this feeling like I wanted to revert to childhood. But this time, instead of fighting it, I leaned into it. I leaned in as hard as I could just to see what would happen. And that's how I ended up here, in my parents' attic. Well, actually, I ended up somewhere else first, but for the sake of the story, we're going to start here, and then you'll see why. It's never been this clean in the history of our family. There was just, my parents had rats, and now they're gone. And so is all the junk that was up here. But when I got here, piled high to the rafters was 30 years worth of all of our families, 5 kids, 2 parents, grandparents, all of it up here, unorganized. I was looking for something very specific, and what I was looking for, I found in these 2 boxes over here. They're still here, same 2 boxes. Both of these were filled with all of my childhood toys. And I had a lot of childhood toys, but the thing that broke me, and as soon as I opened them, I bawled my eyes out. Every single one of them was attached to a book's worth of memories. It felt like I was there. For each toy I touched was a new moment in time that I could specifically remember. Things that I had just forgotten. And so I just sat and I cried. I cried like movie crying. It's hard to describe, but the best way I can describe it is that I just broke. It was elation, relief, happiness, sadness, every single emotion I could probably feel, I felt all at once, instantly. And so I was just crying. So I picked up these toys and I just couldn't help but cry. It's still, even right now, I'm kind of a little bit tearful just holding it back. But each one of these, is a moment in my life. And I can distinctly remember these moments.
Oh yeah, cool! Tech Patrol!
And he got the Turtles Technodrome.
He got the Technodrome.
And this is why.
No, Alex.
I was in a Toys R Us off of Catella, and I must have been 8, 7, too old to be throwing a fit. I was bawling to get this. And I remember my mom being frustrated, and my dad was there, and I was just crying because I wanted this. That's all I wanted. Just a crappy, spoiled kid crying. However old I was, I'm not sure. Too old, I think, to be throwing a fit. And I threw a fit, and I got it. And I was so happy because I shouldn't have got this. And I still remember that Toys R Us. I remember what it smells like. I remember how I felt. I remember that how pissed my parents were that my dad did not want to get it for me, and my mom was like, let's just do it to shut him up. My other brothers were just everyone left the aisle. I was just there alone screaming. And it's stupid. It's a stupid memory, and I'm the asshole in the memory. I'm the bad one. And yet I can still remember it. And this toy, without touching this toy, without seeing this toy, I wouldn't have. Why would I remember that? Why would I want to remember that? I don't. But now that I get to look at it, it's here. And the feeling I get is is I get to go back to a moment in time, and a moment in time that I maybe never got to go to. It's kind of like time traveling, and I get to see myself and my parents and my brothers, and like, I don't know, to me that's that's so stupid. I'm crying over Ninja Turtles already. So we already answered the question, can you cry over Ninja Turtles? Yes you can. But to me, these toys, these, you know, like Catwoman, it's me playing Batman with my brothers, or, you know, Donatello in a trench coat, it's me watching it, playing along with it, or Han Solo and Carbonite is just me thinking I'm in the world of Star Wars and hanging out with my friends and playing these dumb games where every time I touch each one of these is its own memories. It's like a little totem into the past that once you touch it, once you pick it up, it's a tangible item that lets you travel through time. And I don't know, there's something beautiful about that. And for the longest time I wanted to fight this, and I don't want to anymore. I don't want to live in it, but I want to acknowledge it and say, yeah, it's nice. It's nice to hold something from your past and have this memories that you might not have been having. Like, I think that that's fucking beautiful. Hold on a second. I got it. Where do we wipe tears?
Remind me. I don't even know where it
Say
is.
cheese.
Cheese.
Thanks, Krang. To me, these are something that will, when I'm gone, hopefully the toys that I've bought my children are something that will remind them of me. Or these items or things, these little stupid pieces of plastic are something that hopefully that they can look at and have a memory of themselves with me and that toy or my wife. I don't know. I don't know if it's healthy, but it feels good for me right now. And so once I dove into this and said, screw it, I'm looking into this, it felt pretty good. I'm gonna be honest, I've felt much better since acknowledging it and looking at these and then walking back through these memories, good and bad. Like, they're not all good memories. Some of them are bad. Like, some of them are just me alone in my room feeling sad that no one will play with me. But before I went to my parents' attic, whenever I'd get sad or stressed, I'd come here and walk the halls and just look at all the toys I either used to have or the toys I wanted and kind of flirt with that nostalgia feeling. But then after going to my parents' attic, I don't know, it all kind of clicked. And I had this weird epiphany that I'm assuming the people here already knew, which is they're holding my nostalgia hostage for a price. Before I went into my parents' attic, I actually wanted to buy the toys at Frankenson's when I would walk around. And now, since going there and knowing that they're putting a high price on my feelings and my memories and my nostalgia, I don't want to buy them. But I still want to experience them. This place, it's kind of like my church. We all congregate here on either a Wednesday or a Saturday. And people just like me, maybe feeling just like me, wander these halls looking for their memories and their nostalgia or to make new ones. And we all do it together. Whether we acknowledge each other or not, that's a different story, but we're there together. It feels good knowing that you're not alone, even if you're not really interacting. There's so many memories with those toys that I can't even begin to go through them all, you know? And I guess here's another thing that I forgot to mention. I want to say that I was and I wasn't spoiled. I definitely was spoiled, but my parents never really said I love you. It wasn't their thing. But my mom, specifically my mom, showed her love by buying me toys. And that was a very specific choice on her end, I think. So instead of saying, I love you, she would say, I got you this Ninja Turtle. And specifically Ninja Turtles are more meaningful to me than any other brand of toy due to how many times she got them for me, or really how many times she said, I love you, and I love you too, Mom. And I'm saying it. What are you going to do about it? But they hold a special place in my heart because, you know, and so do all the other toys, because they can all take me back to a moment. And sometimes that moment is a specific moment, and sometimes it's a whole, year or so, depending on how much I played with it and what I did.
You're 4 years old today?
Yeah, still do this. Next year I probably can't do this. Ready?
It's something I am glad I've encountered. I'm not sure I really came... I wish I had a beautiful conclusion here. So maybe it's okay to just time travel and feel something different and go to a place that you've been before, especially if it was a better place, and if it was just a neutral place or a different place, whatever. I think it's okay to do that. It definitely is for me. Maybe not for everyone, but it definitely is for me. Anyway, if you want to check out this, I also have a sweet 90s playlist down below. It's like a 90s nostalgia trip that'll kind of take you through my version of the 90s. So if you have any toys or 90s things or anything that is nostalgic or beautiful stories, please write them down in the comments. And thanks for watching. I'm still a little teary-eyed from... It's not even Krang, by the way. Can we talk about this? This is actually Krang's body. Krang would be the brain that I don't have anymore, wherever that went. And this is just the body? I don't even know what he's called. Does he have a name? Craig? If you know his name, let me know in the comments, because I haven't Googled it yet. I guess I will at the end of this, but for the sake of video.